Good morning, everybody. This is Richard back at you. Man, has it been hot around here. 105 for like a week now, huh, Teresa?
Yeah.
It's been terrible. We got Miss Teresa on the camera. We got Annie enjoying the cool concrete. Let me tell you. Today it's like 78 degrees for the first time.
Supposed to be a high of like 83, I
Is
think.
it?
Yeah.
But it's been misting outside. It's been cloudy all day, so we're really excited about that for sure.
Please rain. Please rain.
We need rain. I'm telling you. We got cracks this wide, and you can't see the bottom of them in our yard, so
No.
it's terrible.
Exactly.
Well, anyway, we got Brett's 2005 Ford Expedition 5.4 3-valve. Now you got to remember Brett's other 2005 Expedition was in here a few weeks back. He's got two boys. They're both young. Third gear out of the other one. Third gear out of this one now. So we're going to go back, basically do what we did to the last unit. Take this one apart, see what it needs, freshen it up, and give it the works, huh, Teresa?
Yeah, I don't think this one had a bent cross member like the other one, though,
Nah,
right?
he blamed the jump in the other one and bending the cross member on the youngest one that drives this one. So he tore up the oldest ones, and then he took over the youngest one. I don't know.
Isn't that
it was
funny?
kind of funny,
Yeah,
though.
it's a kid thing, though.
It is. Well, anyway, this one does have a little bit of mud under it. Doesn't look like river mud, so I think he's lucky there.
Yeah.
But anyway, I didn't think it's been rebuilt before. When I looked at it, it looked all like it's never been taken out. But once I got to looking at it, it does have a green BNI torque converter. So that tells me there that it has been into. And then when you get to looking at it, it does have silver paint on it. So this is the pan that come out of it. Now these pans do have a dimple. They're kind of hard to set on the jack. So I always take the filter off, put a flat pan on it. That way it sets on the jack real easy. A lot of metal around that magnet.
Pretty fuzzy.
Now this did not look like it's been serviced before. It's got 130,000 miles on it. I don't know what the mileage was on the unit when it was rebuilt. I don't see nothing written on the transmission here. So. Just got a regular F60 where you can see 9/16 of 13. That tells you how long ago this unit's been in this vehicle. So it's actually been doing pretty good. Standing up really well. Now we do have we'll be putting a BNI converter back in it. It should be here this morning on UPS. And then all of our parts that we ordered from Transtar from Raymond should be here this morning too. So today's Friday. Hopefully I can get this tore down. Try to get it built by the end of the day. Put it in Saturday morning. We got 3 days of coolness. So I'm really going to work those 3 days.
Should we check your mic real quick? Because you have a habit of unplugging it. Just in
Does
case.
it see if it's working? For some reason, my mic's been going off from
Okay,
it.
there you go.
Shows me working.
Yeah, well, I think it's because you pull up your britches and unplug it, so.
Probably. My britches
We're going
fall
to
down a
double
lot
check
on me.
maybe again later.
Well, anyway, this, like I say, this is a 4-wheel drive. Gonna get the tail housing off here, the adapter. And you know, this does have signs a little bit that we could have done this one. I don't remember doing 2 of them for him, but he was saying that we did the last one, if I remember correctly.
I know we did his mother's, but I didn't know they had 2 of them.
Uh-oh, forgot my mallet.
So.
I got my 10 millimeter though, the main thing. These gaskets here, they're kind of metal infused. They got their own little seal around it, but this does have metal in it. It'll burn up there. If you look in the connector, there's no fluid in the connector. Looks like we had a little bit of leak around here, maybe, or something, hard to tell. Wasn't low on fluid, but the fluid was really, really bad. Of course, I forgot my 15 deep. Well, I'm just all over the place today.
Oh, it's still early.
We've been busy, truthfully. The Pro-Charged Chevelle, we got it just about ready to go. They had to take it, do a few things to it, and bring it back. Got your lever here, park, reverse, neutral, drive. I talked about how you set these up on the last video. This is already in neutral. If you notice here, the two lines are lined up, this line here and this line here. You loosen these bolts, turn it until these both line up, and then that's where it needs to be. Put your shifter in neutral. See that right there. Line that up, tighten it down. Shifter has to be in neutral though. Of course, we have our input and output speed sensors. Now, these are different lengths. This one you can stick in and not have any worries about what's going on inside the tranny. This one here, you have to be careful where you put a snap ring inside the transmission, because when you put this back in, if you put the snap ring in the wrong place, this, when you put it in, it'll push the snap ring out of the groove, and then the snap ring pops out on the inside of the case. So I'll show you that right there, what happens in that respect. Oh, my legs come loose here. Does it feel a little cooler in here, Teresa?
A little bit.
A little bit, huh?
A little bit.
Well, guys, we finally splurged and got us some, what they call it, mini split air conditioners. Got the unit mounted there on the wall.
Yeah,
Works
buddy.
really good. We got the other unit mounted on the outside of the building. So it turned out really nice. We're going to be putting the plastic walk-through here on the end, the refrigeration stuff. So that ought to keep it really cool in the build area right there. We're really excited because, like I said, 105 degrees for the last week. Oh my gosh, it's like 120 in here. It's terrible.
Well, and I mean, our cool days are only going to be for like a couple, and by Monday we're supposed to be 103 again. So that stuff is high dollar though, isn't
Yes,
it?
it is.
Crazy.
We were really shocked. You know, the mini split was $750 installed, and then the plastic thing that go around here is like $1,000. I mean, that's like $1,000 for plastic. Okay. Now, this is the wiring harness right here. This is a hard wiring harness, what I call it, circuit board, whatever you want to call it. These do go bad. I've had to replace them before. The transmission temp sensor is right here. You just want to put, you know, the earlier versions has wires that you plug in individual. This just clicks on there. Just make sure you got them all plugged in good. Clicked in. Like I say, transmission temp sensor. Now this tranny does already have a shift kit in it, a Transgo. This is the blow off right here for the pressure regulator. These trannies are bad about spiking pressure and causing blowouts on pistons, blowing the snap ring out of the forward drum, actually blowing the whole forward drum apart. So that's why we always put the Transgo kit in there, because it will take care of any type of spikes or anything like that crazy that happens. This hole is already there. These two bolt holes are already there. You do modifications inside in here. We drill 2 holes, so that way we get the pressure regulator circuit into this hole here. That's all we're doing, these 2 holes here, putting it here, and then we use a spring and a deal here to blow off if it makes too much pressure. Have our detent spring here. We have this pin here, rope pin, always pull out, put it in a safe spot, that way you don't lose it. You're going to have to take that out to get your shifter shaft out, get your seal in, and stuff like that. So this bracket here holds your pressure regulator down in here, you can see it. Your pressure, not pressure regulator, your pressure EPC solenoid, pressure control solenoid. Now this can get stuck in 2 grooves, so you got to be really careful what groove you put that in. If you put it to the groove on the inside where the filters are, the pressure control solenoid is stuck out too far and you will not have no pressure. I'll show you what I'm talking about.
I like how that plate looks like a transmission.
It kind of does, huh? I like my air. This gets the bolts out faster. Get on there.
Get it on.
Get on there. I'm enjoying that cool air. I'm telling you, that makes a big difference, huh?
Yep.
Should have done that a long time ago. But you can only do what you can do. For sure. Plenty of bolts. Now these are all 10 millimeter here. You don't have to take them out to get the valve body off, but there is a gasket and alignment bolts on here. Here's one alignment bolt. Here's the second alignment bolt. These bolts go all the way through the valve body and stick out the other side, and when you put the valve body on there, it aligns it with the case. There and there. They do make two different versions of this gasket, so make sure you match it up when you get your kit. Make sure your kit is the right kit, because they do make two different gaskets here. You got your two alignment holes right here. See how that pin sticks through? And the other one will stick through right here. Right there. That's what aligns it up with the valve body. They'll set down in these holes. Okay, pretty simple. Yeah, I'm going to take this off. The bolts on the other side of the valve body that hold that plate on are the same bolts that hold these two plates on. These will only go a certain direction. They are staggered, the bolt holes, so you don't have to worry about that. And some of the earlier versions do have a plate here. So the FIODs, AODs, they'll have a plate here. Some of the early AODEs too. You'll have two different gaskets that'll come with your overhaul kit. So you got to make sure you put the right gaskets on there. And you can see we already installed a shift kit in here. That's a part of a shift kit. You'll drill that hole out, chamfer it, put that plug in there, beat it down flush, and then you'll drill that hole back out to 55 thousandths. We have all of our check balls. We also have a filter right here. Will come in your overhaul kit. Check balls will come in the overhaul kit. We have this one-way check valve here. It goes in there. It goes in any direction. It's got a rubber snubber on each end. We do have a converter filter. You know, some people say leave them out. I always put them back in. If any trash comes out of the converter, I want it to be captured no matter what. Okay. Of course, we do modifications to the valve body. There's going to be some springs changed, some valves changed. We're going to drill a hole right here through this land here, going into this area here to give it more lube circuit oil. TCC spring you could replace here depending on what year. You will be replacing the boost valve right here though in the valve body. It will come in the shift kit. This valve here will come in the shift kit with a new spring, and then down here too, this area right here will come with some new pieces in the shift kit too. So just read your instructions. It'll tell you everything about what you need to do. The shift kit on this is really easy to install, but I do want to show you the two feed holes that we drill. You remember me talking about the blow off right here and your check valve and spring and stuff, remember? Or your blow off valve that went right here, remember the cover?
Yep.
Okay. You have to get to that. So what you have to do, you have to drill a hole through here and a hole through here to get to this pocket right here to feed that. Right there. If you don't drill them holes, you can put that on there all day long. It ain't gonna do nothing. You can still have spikes and break things. So that's why you want to do that. You got your lockup solenoid, your shift solenoids. And then it looks like we have a problem right here.
Oh,
Yeah. This is your third gear accumulator right here. Oh yeah, look at that. There's no more piston left. It wadded it up. This spring broke. What it does when the spring breaks, this sets in here. You got this piece. This is part of the shift kit right here. If this this right here sets over this hole right here, and if this point sets right on here, which you can see that dot where it's been setting, this will wear a hole through there. So the shift kit gives you this piece that sets on here. That way it gives it a flat surface. You got your spring, then your piston. Okay, but once the spring breaks, it lets the piston travel a little bit farther than it should, and then it sticks out the end of it here, down in here, and then it just blows the seal. That's why third gear is no more. You always want to replace those. Like I said, a spring, you have to get your core, find you another one. And you got your connector here. You do have a tiny, tiny O-ring right here. Just one O-ring that seals it. Chrysler, they had problems, so they put like as many as they could get on there to seal it.
nice.
Yeah, let me go find some more wrenches. My tools are scattered today. I've been all over the place. I think that might get it. We'll see if these will work. You cannot get your pressure control solenoid out without taking the linkage out. So now this will go on any direction. It doesn't have to bolt a certain way or turn a certain way. It can go either direction, just tighten it down. But I was talking about on this piece right here, see how you got the groove? Remember this piece? That's locks into that groove right there. But I've had units come in where that's stuck in there just like that filter, just like that, and now we got pressure problems. It's got to be stuck back here, the solenoid all the way in, because it's very easy to stick it like that. Once you do that, you go drive it, you'll feel it instantly. But if you don't know what you're doing, then you might not be able to pick it up and be in trouble. Now this is our reverse servo here. It applies the reverse band. You always want to check the lip here. Make sure you can't break it off. Make sure it's nice and spongy and soft. Same way with the cover. Uh-oh, it almost got you, Teresa.
Need a squeegee.
I need a squeegee. Same way with the cover. This cover gets hard, shrinks. Next thing you know, the apply oil that applies the servo, the band, leaks around the cover. You lose a lot of pressure right there, so you want to make sure that's all tight through there. And then we have our accumulator here. Your shift kit's going to come with multiple springs here. It's going to come with a plug and a few other things. So the factory is just going to be single springs, no plugs. So shift kit comes with a dual spring, comes with two purples here, and it also comes with a slug. You always want to change this piston out here too. Same thing, these get soft, or excuse me, they get brittle, they break, fall apart. Same way with the cover. Cover shrinks, next thing you know you got fluid leaking around the cover, and now you have problems. Your Transgo kit will come with this cover. It will not come with these. This stuff, you have to buy it all separately. Now, I always, once you get this back together, you'll break your thumbs to put this back in. I always use one of these. Flip it in there. On your overdrive servo, this is an overdrive FIODE servo installer, made in USA. Yes. Stick that on there. You can screw it in, put your snap ring in. Your overhaul kit will also come with this snap ring right here that actually just broke when I took it out. Crazy, that just broke when I took that out of it. You can see the tip of it broke off. Down in here somewhere. This thing here, the overhaul kit's going to come with a new snap ring here. Will not come with this piston. So if this is all hard and brittle, you want to replace it too. And also they wear out in the bore where this will wobble.
Like
See,
that's doing.
just like that's wobbling. So if it's wobbling there, it's going to leak around the pin, and you're going to lose apply pressure for your overdrive band. Even though this is good here, it's going to squirt out around that. You remember the last one we did, this spring was broke.
Need a squeegee.
Okay, let me see if I can find my little... I know that fell down in there. It might have fell down in the hole though. But like I said, that snap ring was there for me to be able to grab a hold of it and get it out of there. So that piece is missing. We'll just have to find it. Then you got your shifter shaft seal right here. There's some good heating oil right there for this winter.
Yeah.
That'll clean burn heater, guys. That thing works flawless. If you notice here too on the shift kit, they install an orifice right down in here. You can't, it's right there. The kit will come with two of them, and you got to figure out which one fits the hole. And then you just take a punch and stake it down in there. Oh, here's that snap ring.
Oh, it flipped.
Now your overhaul kit, your Transgo kit will come with a new snap ring. Might be some parts here. This sound the alarm. Sounds like it, huh?
Yeah.
Remember our little chain here, guys, that we set up to keep the oil from draining or making noise in the pan? Just runs down that chain so perfect. I can't remember. I think
Somebody suggested
sent
it.
that idea
yeah,
to us, huh?
best idea ever.
Crazy. It worked really well.
Are you gonna go see?
Nope. Probably the best pump in the world right here. Ford's best design of a pump. They never had to modify it or anything. They pretty much built it, and it was enough volume and pressure to work this tranny really nice. Could be the trash guy. Like I say, we very seldom ever see any wear in the pump body or anywhere. You definitely want to look at different places though and make sure though. Anytime that's gap, you always want to check here because you have suction and pressure. So you want to check that here too. It's crazy how long ago we did this. Now, if we did it at all, that's what's even crazier. I said we know we did one, we just don't know
Which one?
We have a bonded piston here for second gear. The earlier ones, you had to put a seal on it to take it off and change it. So even that seal's glued in. So that I do things that will tell signs of if I built them, and then I can find stuff that tells me that I didn't build them. I say we did this a long time ago, back in 13 that converter was, so that if we did it. It's your intermediate clutches here. You do have a wave that sets in here like this, and then you have this little piece right here. After you get the drum in there and you get your clutches in, this right here slides down beside the steels like this in the case. Slides up here, and it keeps the steels from rattling. That's all that does. Kills the noise. All that does. Don't want to lose it. We have our overdrive band.
Looks toasty.
Yeah, it's starting to get some wear on it, definitely. Drum looks good. We have a diode sprag. Hear the clicking? So you always want to replace your bushings. Look for any wear in here. Now this is your reverse clutch here. So your reverse band comes on and your reverse clutch comes on and you back up. Now if you go to having to change this drum, they made a bearing type drum and they made a thrust washer type drum. So you have to measure the depth from the table to here anytime you replace the drum, if you have a washer or a bearing. So you want to check that depth. That way you don't get messed up. Replacing parts is what'll get you if you don't know what to look for. Have our reverse clutch. Our bevel plate still looks really good. You know, we've had them come in cracked. Looks really good still. Now our piston is still down in there, and we have a square cut seal on both sides, but then we have this little ring that sets down in there, and then the bevel sets on the ring. These fingertips do. They do not set on the piston. Wavy snap ring. Then we have our forward drum. This is a drum that we talk about spiking pressures that breaks things. This tranny can spike enough pressure to physically split this drum right here where the snap ring groove is. We've had these come in with this top piece right here is just hanging off like this, hanging off the side, big old bloat area. Okay, and that's caused by high pressure spikes. Not the bad drum, just high pressure. We have our forward clutches. Starting to see some spotting. I say this has been in there a long time. We do have a wave plate though. Wave steel, wet clutch all the way to the top, backing plate, snap ring. It's down in there. Locks them together. This slides down into your third gear drum down in here, and then this goes into the bottom of your forward drum. Of course, you got sealing rings here. You got two of them down in here. Scarf cut. And we have some bearings. If you notice, this bearing here has a lip on it. When you put this bushing in, it has to be incensed so it doesn't touch that lip. If you put it up too close, it'll touch it and mess the bushing up, okay, and the bearing. If you look here, now this is one of the shells that a magnet will not stick to. We talk about the sensor going all the way through the case and coming in here like this, right? This is a magnet. It will not stick to it. It'll stick to that. Will not stick to that. And why that is this drum sets in here like this, and this sensor is reading these teeth here. It's not reading that, it's reading that. If it was, it's kind of crazy they can make metal that this thing can see through and count them, but they definitely do make it. The last time the unit we did, it also started to get cut right here. This one's starting to see the wear right here too. And that's because of this. This is a softer metal than this drum here. And this drum here is heavier, and it just starts cutting into it. Also here you want to, if the shell's good, you want to look here for any abnormal wear on the gears here. Both sides. Got this weird bearing here. Race goes down, bearing goes on top of it. Same way, it has a lip on it that keeps the bearing center in here. So you want to make sure your bushings are low. That way it can't touch the bushing. The race goes down, bearing goes on top of it like that. Same way, you want to look at the gears here, both sides, make sure there's no funny wear. Replace the bushing. And then down in here, this is that snap ring I was talking about on the speed sensor. This speed sensor goes through this case right here. See how it comes out here? Look where the snap ring groove is. It's right above it, or right at it. Look at that. So if I put that snap ring in there across this, when you push this in, it'll push the snap ring out of the case. So you have to put the opening of the snap ring right there. Just like that. If you put the opening over here, this snap ring's going to come there. When you push the sensor in, bolt it in, it's going to pop the snap ring out. And also we have another anti-clunk spring down here, or anti-rattle spring, or whatever you want to call it. You can see it. They have it shoved right in here. You can see it's still in its position. That's what that one looks like.
It's crazy.
So this here keeps that support from moving back and forth in the case like this. This here keeps the clutches from rattling because of the diode sprag. Now we do have a snap ring that sets down in the case. It's just a floater snap ring, I call it. And that's for the band to set on. That's all that does. You don't want to leave it out because your band can fall down, but that's all that does is hold the band up in its position. This is the snap ring that I'm talking about. You need to make sure you put the sensor in the opening. If you put it over here, when you bolt this in, it's going to push it out. This is the support in the middle. If you look here, this right here will start getting wear where this sets, because that sets in there like that. Now we come in here and TIG this up, and then we can machine it back where it looks where you can't tell it was there. But a lot of times they're really bad. So you always want to look for that place there. Your inner race for your roller clutch, you want to Scotch-Brite it up, make sure there's no chattering marks or anything, because this is your roller clutch here. This can go in two ways, so be careful. Just remember, your spring always pushes your roller uphill. Spring always pushes the roller uphill. That way you know it's right. Remember on the earlier, on the first one we did, this planetary was bad. This bearing down in here was bad. So you always want to look for any type of little pins, needle bearings, or anything in the pan. If you see any of that stuff, that bearing is bad. Now, this right here is another reason. Now, this is our third gear clutch. This is what's going to be burned up because of that accumulator piston being all messed up. Remember the spring breaking? But what I was wanting to get to on this right here, see how that bushing's sunk down in there? This bearing has that lip on it. If you put that bushing in there flush and you tighten it down, it's going to destroy this bushing, it's going to destroy this bearing. So you have to make sure you inset that bearing down in there, or that bushing down. Inset. I can't say it very good. Inset.
Yeah, you can't say it very good. It's
But
okay.
you can see the bearing down in here too. But you have to make sure that's down in there, okay? Check for any pins, purple, or any pitting or anything like that. So always put your sun gear down in there. Put a lot of force on that bearing. See if you feel anything. You do have this spacer here. Sets down like that. Then your bearing goes on top. Anytime I put a bushing in there, always check this and make sure that it fits good. Make sure it spins. A lot of times when you put the bushing in, it kind of tightens up on this drum, so and you might have to hone that bushing a little bit.
You can definitely tell all that's a lot darker.
Yeah, see that's clamped on there.
Yeah.
Well, you can see the third gear clutches totally gone. The hub right here, we have to get everything off of it and look and see if it hurt the hub. Because a lot of times these clutches will cut this hub and make a groove all the way around where you can't use it anymore. It looks in really good shape. So you do have a case bushing down in here. You have some sealing rings down in here. Your third gear oil comes through here, comes out here. This drum sets on there like that, applies the clutch. See that hole? See that hole? You do have a bearing though. Okay, this drum here, we've replaced 99.9 of them, almost 100% of them. This spline down in here is 90% stripped on every one of them we do. And you can see that it's almost stripped out. If I cleaned it up and you could look down in there, the splines are just sharp. There's nothing left of them. I do have a special tool, if I can find it and show you, that I built to get those bushings out. Let me go grab my hammer. I don't know how everybody else gets theirs out, but this is a tool that I made. This is no extension. You can see how I put a flat end here, made this little piece here. That way it sets in there and touches that bushing. And I can tap that bushing right out with this. How simple that was. A lot of people, how am I going to get that bushing out of there? Falls right out. You do have a bearing that sets down in the case too, like that above this, that this runs on. Now once you put this bushing in there, you want to put this down in there and make sure it doesn't lock down. If it does lock down, put it in, just kind of tap here, tap here, tap here with your mallet, and it'll usually free it right up. Okay? But the most critical thing on putting a bushing down in here, you want to take your finger and rub all the way around the outer surface where that bushing is going to go. If you feel any type of, when they put the bushing in from the factory, it'll peel the case up. You have to take that off, because if you don't, when you put your new bushing in there, it puts a high spot on this bushing and you will not get this shaft in. I'm telling you. So I have this right here is what I use this for only. And that's just to get in there to take them little high spots and nicks out of there. That way when I put the bushing in, that output shaft right there will just spin real easy. So anyway, guys, failure, spring broke, piston blew, took out third gear. Nothing the gentleman did wrong. He can go out and, I mean, you can't blame it on the kid on this one here for sure. I mean, it's just wear. Like I said, the converter says 2013. So, and signs of this one, the way it looks, we did this. I can tell just by some of the things that we did and stuff. So we could have done 2 for him. Really don't know. But anyway, it's getting hot in here.
It's very humid. It needs to hurry up and rain.
Right. Need to get they make refrigeration plastic that you can walk through. That's what we're going to put up here. And I think that'll seal it in here really good. So we're really excited about that.
Better. Yeah.
We want to thank you for watching. We want to thank Miss Teresa for recording. And Annie, always hanging out and enjoying the show. Hey, we want to thank you again, guys. Don't forget to subscribe, push the notification bell. Go check out our merch store. It's not much, but we're doing the best we can. Have a fabulous day.
TGIF.